Hello guys, welcome to another Movie Matthew video where I am ranking all 9 of Tarantino's feature films. I love Quentin Tarantino. I think he's an unbelievable director, one of my favourite directors of all time. I like the vast majority of his films. I'm going to rank them from the very worst to the very best, so stay tuned and yeah, let's just get straight into it. Number 9 is Death Proof. This film is just the worst of a very good bunch. I still think it's entertaining, but yeah, Tarantino admitted himself this is probably his weakest work, and I can agree with that. You know, the dialogue doesn't hook you in as much as his other films, which is a big part of his film. The dialogue in this feels like it's written by someone who's trying to write like Tarantino. That's what it feels like. You know, this grindhouse film just doesn't hit the spot for me. The characters I don't really like, not very likeable. Anyone in this film is very likeable, which is annoying. I like to root for characters, you know, I like to like villains, I like to like the characters. Not likeable. That's a huge part of it as well. The ending was very unsatisfying and probably the weakest on this list. Not a very good ending. Yeah, just overall, it's just an okay film. It's not a film I would probably rewatch again. It's the only one I would not rewatch again. I just don't think it's that good overall. Still entertaining nonetheless, but yeah, just not my favourite. Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown is good. It is good. It moves at a lovely pace. I was never bored at all throughout this film. I do have a problem with it though. Jackie Brown herself. I don't like her. I don't like her character. There's something about it. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I just don't like the character. Jackie Brown. Don't like it. Don't root for her. You know, the person I do root for is Odell. Just because Odell is the saving grace of this film. Oh my god, is he good. The antagonist of this film, played by Samuel L. Jackson. I love him. I love Samuel L. Jackson, and this is one of his best performances. I think he's brilliant in this film. Odell is such a good character. You know, when Jackie Brown's on there, you know, and Max Cherry and their relationship, and you're kind of watching them play out, you're like, can we just go back to Odell, please? That's how we're thinking, you know. The Odell scenes were the entertaining scenes. You know, Samuel Jackson and Robert De Niro, they're entertaining. You know, the Jackie Brown sequences just weren't as good for me, and that I kind of felt like I needed to root for her a bit more, but I didn't. And I thought their chemistry on screen was decent. The kiss at the end, Jesus Christ, was that awful. You know, it was a very awful and awkward movie kiss for me. I didn't like that at all. But Max Cherry and Jackie Brown, it was okay, their storyline. Not really that good for me. You know, not the best. I thought Robert Forster as Max Cherry was great. His performance was very good, and it really revitalised his career and put him back into the mainstream. But yeah, his character was just okay, but it was acted very well. I can give him that. I thought the ending of this film was extremely anticlimactic. I was expecting this big, satisfying finale where it all goes down. You don't get that. It was a very bland and very predictable ending to a film that I've been waiting for 2.5 hours for something to go down here. It doesn't. Nothing really happens. The ending is very, very unsatisfying. The Hateful Eight. I really enjoy this film, and this is where I collect these on Blu-ray. You know, I left Jackie Brown and Death Proof out because they just didn't quite make the cut, but all these 7 are in my collection. I love all these 7. I just like some more than others, but The Hateful Eight for me, very entertaining. The stagecoach scenes for the first half an hour are a bit overlong. This movie is a bit overlong. It doesn't need to be as long as it is, and kind of feels a bit pretentious at times. You're thinking, come on, you know, I know you've got good dialogue in your films, Tarantino. Just wrap it up a bit now. It's getting a bit long. As soon as they entered the log cabin though, that's when shit goes down, and they're the best parts of this film. I think the stagecoach sequences could have been cut down quite significantly and cut the runtime of this. This movie didn't need to be as long as it was. It could have been like a Reservoir Dogs length, you know, like maybe like 1 hour and 50, not as long as it was. I think it's 2 hours and 50, 2 hours 40, something like that. It's long. But yeah, when they're in the log cabin, very, very entertaining. The suspense, you know, it's a lot like Reservoir-esque shot in one particular room, and the attention doesn't leave that room until the finale. It's great. You see it all build up. These characters are very likeable. Again, Samuel Jackson is the shining light in this film. His performance is fucking brilliant. I absolutely love the guy so much, and he's great in this film. I think it's one of his best, especially from a Tarantino film. I think everyone in this film was good though. Everyone introduced was great. A lot of great memorable characters. I really enjoyed Jennifer Jason Leigh's performance in this. I thought she was brilliant, and I also thought Walton Goggins was also really good. You know, them three were my standouts. I thought they were great performances, but all round it was a very good display of acting, and it was very entertaining. The movie is also very unpredictable. You just do not know what's going to happen in that log cabin. Leaves you on the edge of your seat. You have no idea what's going to happen. You know, I was just completely baffled as what's going to happen. Not predictable in the slightest. The dialogue was gripping and amazing. Typical Tarantino. And the blood, there's lots of it, even for his standards. And yeah, I thought the suspense was great in this film. Very enjoyable from start to finish. Bit overlong. And we also have a beautiful score from the legend himself, Ennio Morricone. What a fantastic composer he is. He absolutely smashed it with this one. I bet Tarantino was overjoyed when he agreed to do this film because he's a legend. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Tarantino's latest movie, and this film I actually really enjoyed. I do think it meanders at times, and there's not really much of a plot. It's kind of more of just a celebration of the 1960s, which I can get behind. You know, it was very nostalgic to look at this. You know, it reminds me of all the older movies I watched from the 60s. And how it was all done. The cinematography of this film is some of the best, if not the best, Tarantino has offered. The use of colour, the outfits, oh god, everything really. The acting, very strong, particularly Brad Pitt. Loved Brad Pitt in this film. So happy he won his Oscar, he deserved it. Cliff Booth, such a memorable character. But yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio's great too, and so is Margot Robbie. Very good. But yeah, like I say, it does meander at times. You know, particularly the Cliff Booth with the hippies. I didn't really see the point of that part, but yeah, there's a lot of parts of this film you think, why is it here? But like I say, it's more just a buddy, two pals, you know, an actor and his stunt double just chilling, you know, having a good time, their life really. But the ending of this film is mad ending. And it's one of my favourite endings to a Tarantino film. It is just bedlam. I was not expecting this ending. Because the movie was kind of chilled and you were kind of just vibing along with it, I was not expecting this ending to just blow up like it did. It's funny, it's unforgiving, it's bloody, it's gory, it's everything you want to see. And it's everything that's so great about Tarantino. Over the top, great. And overall this film is very entertaining. I could watch it. It's very rewatchable too. For such a long film, it's very rewatchable. And to say nothing really happens, it's very rewatchable because the dialogue hooks you in. That's what he does so well. He just gets you with that dialogue. You're just hooked in from start to finish. Even when he does meander, you're still entertained. It's just, you're kind of thinking, well, where's the plot going? But you've got to really appreciate that this hasn't really got much of a plot. It's just a movie to celebrate and enjoy. And I can live with that. I really enjoyed this film. And my personal favourite was the beautiful cinematography, the great ending, the costume design. Brilliant. Kill Bill, Part 1 and Part 2. I love Kill Bill. I think Uma Thurman as the wife is just brilliant casting, and it's one of my favourite characters Tarantino's ever created. The wife, so good, so badass. She just rips everyone apart. I love it. The action is gory, unforgiving. It's just a massacre. It's a bloody, over the top, extravagant. Everything I love about Tarantino is in this film. This film is not as much dialogue based as a Tarantino film typically is. It's a lot of action, and the action is just brilliant. The soundtrack is just brilliant. You know, the sound effects are just brilliant. It's just got it all for me. I love it. Part 1 is by far my favourite though. Part 2 I thought was slightly anticlimactic. I'd have liked it to end in a better way, and it was a lot more dialogue heavy. Not that that's a bad thing, it just wasn't as entertaining as the first one. I liked how he swayed away a little bit more away from the dialogue and went more action, and I'd like to have seen it carry on in Part 2, but we don't really get that. But yeah, I'd put, if it was basing it on Part 1 and 2, I'd put Part 1 higher on this list and I'd put Part 2 lower on this list. But as a combined 5 is a good rating. But overall, these are very good films, very entertaining and very rewatchable. Some of the most rewatchable on this list by far. So yeah, overall it's relentlessly entertaining from start to finish. Part 1 and 2, I enjoy both. Part 1, much more. Part 1's fucking brilliant. But yeah, it's great, guys. Kill Bill, big fan. Number 4 is Pulp Fiction. This movie will be regarded as Tarantino's masterpiece in a lot of people's eyes. And I agree, it's a masterpiece. It's just, I prefer my other 3 on this list. But this film is great. It just blew up Samuel L. Jackson and Uma Thurman. They smashed in this film and it really launched their careers, and it really revitalised John Travolta's career in the 90s. This film smashed it at the Cannes Festival. It smashed it. It won the Palme d'Or. It smashed everything. Everyone loved it. Stole the show. And this film is legendary. The dialogue, legendary. So many memorable lines, everything. It's got so many moments. This whole idea of these 3 separate storylines kind of on the same timeline is very original, very different, very ballsy from Tarantino. And it was just so original, such an original movie. There's not a movie like this anywhere else. You won't see a movie like this anywhere else. It has to be seen to be believed, really. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a great crime film. My favourite of the 3 storylines is probably the one involving John Travolta and Uma Thurman. If you know, you know. Great scenes with them two. Like, on-screen chemistry just works. It's great. But yeah, love this film. Unbelievable performances, unbelievable dialogue, unbelievably original storyline. It has it all, really. It's a legendary film, a legendary one. Reservoir Dogs. This is one of the best directorial debuts I've ever seen. This film is brilliant. It has a small budget, but who cares? Tarantino's directing it, you know it'll be good. All it really needs is a great script and a great director and some great performances. And that's what it has. It just proves, doesn't it? You don't need a big budget to make a world-class film. This is one of Tarantino's very best, and in a lot of people's eyes is his very best. And it had the smallest budget. It was all filmed basically in one room, and it just works. The dialogue is some of the best dialogue he's ever produced. It is brilliant. It's witty. It's funny. It's probably the funniest script on this list. I love the humour in this. It starts from Steve Buscemi bitching about a tip that he don't want to pay, to Tim Roth trying to convince his way into this team of misfits. Every bit of dialogue just works. I absolutely love it. This one room is all they need. That's all they need. If the dialogue's this good, all you need is one room. And the tension that's built in this room is massive. Unpredictability factor through the roof. You do not know what's going to happen. You do not know who this rat is. You don't know. I didn't have a clue until he said it. Anyway, but yeah, this film is just fucking brilliant from start to finish. My 2 favourite performances are from Harvey Keitel and Steve Buscemi. I thought them 2 were brilliant in this. So funny and very entertaining. All the cast in this are brilliant. Great acting. It's a great film. It really is. Inglorious Bastards. I love this film. The opening sequence of this film is just a masterpiece. It is probably my favourite opening sequence to any film ever. I just think it's done so well. The tension that it builds up, the climax of it, it's just incredible. It's unbelievable, and oh my god. Christopher Waltz in this film as Hans Lada. It is just masterful. He is brilliant in this, and I think this is the best character Tarantino has ever created, and probably will be the best character he ever creates. I just think he just smashes the role so far out of the park. It's just ridiculous, really. Massively deserved his Oscar for this film. He's brilliant, and this whole film is very entertaining. Like I say, that opening sequence is my favourite scene in this whole film. It's fucking brilliant. But another sequence I absolutely adore is the bar sequence. Oh my god, is that good. It's just masterful filmmaking. The suspense, the payoff, the ending, it's just brilliant, Something as subtle as holding up how you hold up your number 3. Oh, it's just brilliant, man. I love it so much. So many scenes. Those 2 scenes in particular make this movie worthy of being number 2. I just love it. It's just masterful filmmaking. So many performances were good. Daniel Brühl Bruh. I think that I terrible with pronunciation, but I think that might be right. Probably not. And Brad Pitt was also good. This movie had very funny moments, including Brad Pitt and the Bastards. They were funny in this. I mean, it's a very good film. The performances are all good. All good, flat out across the board, like most Tarantino films. Performances are good. But with Christopher Waltz, it's just through the roof good. World class. The ending from Shosanna, from the start, she got the one that got away, the Jew that got away, with a huge payoff revenge ending. Such a good ending, and Brad Pitt carving the swastika in Christopher Waltz's head. Oh my god, what a satisfying ending, I love this film, it's so satisfying. The ending is probably my favourite ending out of any Tarantino film. I prefer it just that bit more than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think it's great. Inglorious Bastards is amazing. Initially I had it number 3 on my list. I had Reservoir Dogs above this, but this one, after rewatching it again recently, takes number 2 for me. I think it is fucking brilliant. Django Unchained is my favourite Quentin Tarantino film. I think mainly just because I love westerns. I think this is a beautiful take on the western genre, done so well, and it's done by a guy who himself loves westerns. Tarantino's such a huge fan of that era of filmmaking, and it shows. He just smashes it out of the park with this one. This movie's littered with good performances. Everyone in this film is better than good. Brilliant. In particular, Samuel Jackson yet again smashes it. Leonardo DiCaprio takes a role as a villain and he does it so well. Despicable guy. He just becomes this evil guy. Oh my god, it's a brilliant performance. It's actually one of my favourite Leonardo DiCaprio performances ever. I think it's brilliant. Christopher Waltz, yet again, brilliant. Jamie Foxx, brilliant. This cast, brilliant. I love it. And every performance it's so unique in its own way, and it's done so well. I absolutely love everyone in this film, and I love the western genre. I just love Django Unchained. The action is gory as it comes, unforgiving as it comes, bloody as it comes. Quentin Tarantino at his very best, as I've said many times before. It is just done so well. He made 2 very dark subjects in Inglorious Bastards and Django Unchained, and made them very entertaining and very satisfying. You get a slave who gets to kill all these rich white men for being such pricks to them. Then you also get the Jew to come back and kill all these Nazis. I love the satisfaction of these 2 films. The revenge aspect, I love it. And the killing is just so satisfying to see. And that really adds to it when you really hate the villains. And God, do you hate the villains in Django Unchained. Leonardo DiCaprio just played it so well. The tension built in this is so big. The dinner scene, if you know, you know. That is such an intense scene. You just do not know what's going to happen. It's unpredictable as this film. You really do not know what's going to happen. The tension built is brilliant, and that dinner scene, like I said, that's just masterful filmmaking yet again. I love how he just sits these characters down and lets them talk. He takes time with these characters and takes time with the scene and really lets it marinate and build and build and build until boom, you have this huge payoff. And it's just beautiful to see. It's great filmmaking. I simply cannot fault Django Unchained, and it is my number 1. Guys, please let me know what your Tarantino ranking is down below. I love to reply to your comments. And yeah, this has been the Movie Matthew channel. Like, subscribe, and you know what to do. Do whatever you want. This has been the Movie Matthew channel, and I will definitely see you next week on my new video.